Wow, it's been a long time since the Las Vegas Raiders looked this bad. Actually, that's the worst the Las Vegas Raiders ever looked. The Oakland Raiders looked just as bad in 2006. Either way, they got their behinds handed to them on a bent tray. There's a hopelessness in the organization that has replaced all the high hopes they had this offseason. This is shocking. I didn't expect the Raiders to be a good team or win anything this year, but damn, I expected a whole lot better than what we're seeing right now. I expected to see a young, hard-fighting team that makes too many mistakes in close games to get where they want to get. What we're seeing is the Raiders not even competing. This obviously isn't one thing. There's a lot wrong with this team that led to how the Raiders got blown out so bad. Head coach Pete Carroll deserves plenty of blame, and he's going to get it in a little bit, but this started before he got here. However young it may be, there's some young talent on this team, and I look forward to seeing them grow, but the Raiders should have more stars and should be deeper. It starts with John Gruden, the worst personnel man in NFL history. He accumulated 6 first-round picks from 2019 to 2021, and none of them are on the team anymore. Then the Josh McDaniels regime came in and screwed up. Instead of picking Jalen Carter at number 7 overall in 2023, they picked edge rusher Tyree Wilson. There was a free agency flop that year too. The McDaniels regime picked up edge rusher Chandler Jones, and he did very little before he flew over the cuckoo's nest. Then in 2024, the Tom Telesco regime drafted well but faltered in free agency as interior defensive lineman Christian Wilkins came up zesty. Carroll just had his first draft a few months ago, and it was solid. Thank goodness the Raiders stayed away from big-time free agents. They did make a trade for quarterback Geno Smith, though, and I don't have to tell you, that trade isn't working out very well right now. What happened to him? He was the most accurate quarterback in the NFL over the last 3 years. He threw the best deep ball over the last 3 years, too. He came to the Raiders, and all of a sudden, those are the two worst things about him. It seems like the only time he doesn't have problems with his accuracy these days is when he throws the ball to the other team. He's gotten really good at that. As a matter of fact, Smith's the best quarterback in the NFL at throwing the ball to the other team. He leads the league in interceptions with 9. He's thrown only 8 touchdowns to those 9 interceptions, too. Gardner Minshew threw 4 touchdowns and 5 interceptions in his first 5 games with the Raiders last year. Man, Smith is no better than Minshew was last year at this time. The fact that I'm even comparing Smith to Minshew at this point is disturbing. I didn't expect Smith to come over here and be the savior. I thought he would be a placeholder until the Raiders can draft someone, but he hasn't even been a good placeholder. Carroll's been preaching competition every day all this time, but it doesn't seem to count for Smith, who's hurting the team with all those turnovers. That's crazy. Look at the Jackson Powers-Johnson situation. Despite how great he looked last year at center, they just looked at Jordan Meredith one day and had this fantasy he'd make a better center than Powers. Next thing you know, they moved him there from guard with no kind of competition. This fantasy/experiment was double failing a while ago, as Powers didn't play well at guard and Meredith didn't play well at center. Now Powers is killing it at guard and on his way to being one of the best. Meredith is having no such luck. You can't even run his way in short yardage. Short yardage is an important part of situational football you can't win without. I don't see how the Raiders will ever excel in that department the way Meredith gets pushed back by nose tackles. He even gets ran over by linebackers at times. He hasn't been good at calling the right protections or physically protecting the passer. Smith had to call a timeout because he didn't look up at the play clock to see how to snap the ball. Even if the plan is to leave Powers where he is at guard, they should have other competition for Meredith at center. He's not helping the Raiders at center. You can't build a culture on competition every day and only have it apply to guys you don't favor. That kind of hypocrisy is easy to sniff out and it loses players quickly. Especially vets that have been on teams around the NFL and know all the different games these coaches like to play. What happened to Amari Cooper? He was so excited for a quote-unquote unfinished business and he retired 3 days later. I think some of the Powers situation was personal, as offensive coordinator Chip Kelly was talking about Powers getting a big head after he played well in a game. Do you not want to instill confidence in the young players when they do well? On the other end of that, the troops will do just fine without all that extra on it. What happened with Raheem Mostert? How did he get stuck behind anyone other than Genty? How the hell was he behind Zamir White? The latest one is Jermaine Pratt. He was the best coverage linebacker and all-around linebacker the Raiders had. Then out of nowhere, he doesn't travel with the team to play and he's cut. Is Carroll losing the locker room? Is it his assistants? Both? What's going on? Carroll may have turned on one of his own as far as corner Darian Porter goes. He performed very well in camp and Carroll gushed over him daily. He said he reminded him of Richard Sherman with all the receiver background stuff and he sounded like he was going to start. He seemed a little bullish on him at one point too. He talked about how he's not afraid to play freshmen and rookies. I was personally excited to see what Porter would do, especially after catching a glimpse of him at training camp. I was a fan of Eric Stokes when he was at Georgia and the Green Bay Packers and thought he would be good if he could stay healthy. Therefore, I thought Stokes and Porter would be a pretty good tandem, but nope. At the last hour, out of nowhere, Caillou Blue Kelly was the starter. He's on pace to give up 1,176 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a catch percentage of 74.1 when targeted. The only reason why Porter played in the last couple of games is Stokes got hurt. Porter looks like the best corner the Raiders have, so Carroll has some splaining to do. You got a lot of splaining to do, Lucy. Is this another personal thing where the player didn't like what the coach was saying in practice or something? What the Raiders are doing with Jeanty is a travesty and a tragedy. Carroll and company want to experiment with the center and guards positions, and they don't want to give him the ball that much. That's why they drafted him number 6 overall, right? They used him as a decoy in play action when the New England Patriots sold out to stop the run in Week 1. They didn't give him the ball enough in Week 2 and Week 3 against the Los Angeles Chargers and Washington Commanders, respectively. He had an outstanding game in Week 4 against the Chicago Bears. Then in Week 5, they were down big, but they could have given him the ball before they were down big. They could have used him more in the passing game, too. He had 2 touchdowns receiving against the Bears and a 29-yard catch against the Colts. With tight end Brock Bowers out, Jeanty is your best weapon on offense. The Raiders need to get him the ball running and in the passing game. He's good with the ball out in space. He runs good routes and he has good hands, so why not? They didn't even try to get it to him on screens in the games the offensive line was having all kinds of problems protecting the passer. That's coaching malpractice. Don't think I forgot about special teams coach Tom McMahon. He should definitely be fired. If I was Carroll, I'd make him take a commercial flight back to Vegas. As far as his son, offensive line coach Brendan Carroll goes, you know Pete Carroll's not going to fire his son. Expect him to be here as long as Pete is. Something's not right with the Raiders though. Okay, a lot's not right with the Raiders. The drafts going back to the Gruden and McDaniels days, the offensive line switches without any competition, the last minute corner switch, there's some personal things going on. It's making the veterans want to get out of there too. Oh, and get Jeanty the ball. Thank you for watching. See you next time.